of you have asked me about this house. If I'll keep renovating it, what will happen to it after the divorce? If I can legally keep it, why I don't get a pet? So today, I'm going to talk about it. And by the end of this video, I'd love to know your thoughts. Would you stay or would you walk away? Let's dive into the story. When I first arrived at this house, it smelled and felt like its previous owners. Light got trapped between meaningless walls, just like the heat. It had been closed up for a while, showing signs of dampness, and the doors were a joke. I knew things would start breaking the moment I touched them, and that it would take time to make it my own. But I never imagined everything that would come to light. Problems and breakdowns popped up everywhere, and those were exhausting days. I had big plans for this house, and for myself, of course. I was ready to work hard to bring them to life, to become part of a new community I hadn't met yet. I was going to turn this little house into a home and carry out the plan, which included fulfilling my dream of living surrounded by nature in the mountains. At this point, many of you have asked how I ended up buying this house, and I'll tell you later because it's connected to the other half of the video. But let me keep on with the story. The neighbors were shocked when they heard about my plans to live here full-time and not just on holidays and weekends. That's the thing about remote villages, they feel stuck 20 years in the past, and none of them believed a city woman would survive the winter alone in a place like this. Few things bring me more satisfaction than proving men with outdated ideas wrong, reminding them that being a woman doesn't make you weak. And even though they've all admitted they were mistaken, they still keep an eye on me, watching where I am and what I'm doing, just for protective purposes. But the truth is, if I ever needed help, I know I'd never be left to handle things alone. That's why, when people ask me if I'm afraid to live here by myself, the answer is simple. I've never felt safer than I do here. I've always believed that the houses we live in hold on to a bit of our energy, no matter how absurd or crazy that might sound. And through the experiences we have in them and the way we interact with their physical space, we form something like a bond. Sometimes it's strong because of the years spent there, sometimes because of what we've been through. I think that bond was sealed when everything suddenly changed, and I locked myself away for days between the walls of my bedroom and studio. When I felt homeless, when I returned from my trips lost and found at the same time, when everything felt too hard, and suddenly this house stopped giving me trouble. So, of course, it had to earn a name. La Casita, just like in Disney's movie Encanto, and it became a refuge in the mountains. I've learned so many things in La Casita that I wouldn't even know where to begin. Practical things like lighting a fire, moving with the rhythm of the seasons, plastering walls, or even rebuilding them. Dealing with the cold, or learning to live more slowly. And by the time you're watching this, I will have probably learned how to use a chainsaw. I discovered that I love using a brush cutter, that I'm actually good at interior design, and that life in the countryside moves at a completely different pace. So much so that, even if it's broad daylight, if you go visit your neighbors, it's best to leave the outdoor lights on, because chances are you'll end up coming back after dark.
Hola.
I was pleasantly surprised by how warmly the people here welcomed me, even taking me in like one of their own. And even though I thought no one saw me filming my videos in the mountains because I was alone, turns out there are always eyes watching. I learned to be more efficient with shopping and resources, and I've also realized that despite the physical challenges of rural life, people here live longer and in better health. Seeing 85-year-old women climbing hills and herding cows is just incredible. My time in La Casita has also taught me deeper, more emotional lessons. The fleeting nature of time, the importance of facing pain instead of avoiding it, the strength in asking for help when you need it, the power of screaming if your body demands it, the necessity of letting go, and the courage to keep getting up and fighting for yourself. Most importantly, it has been the place where I finally started to love myself. And La Casita will always be the birthplace of a head full of birds. The funny thing about dreams is that life seems to grant them to you in its own way. Sometimes it breaks them into pieces, making you realize that either one part isn't meant to happen, or that they were always meant to come true separately. As if life had a mission for you, letting you taste something but with a slight variation, only to take it away again, making sure you don't stay stuck off your life path. I know many of you have been worried about the legal side of things. Who owns the house? What happens now? And without going into too much detail, I'll just say that coming here was a crazy idea. I loved this Spanish countryside region. My husband had to work away in an expensive place, and I wouldn't have an income, so I agreed to stay here alone most of the time, waiting for him to come home while building my dream job at the same time. And even crazier, for purely financial reasons, I never actually bought the house. That is, La Casita is not mine, and it never will be. That's why I stopped fixing it. For a while, I considered staying. It was the most practical thing to do, finding an arrangement and continuing my project here, in the peace of the mountains, at a very low cost. I know for certain that I could have done it that way without a problem. But the truth is that it's suffocating me. As much as I think this house is beautiful and I'm grateful to La Casita for sheltering me, everything inside it, the furniture, the object, the photos I've hidden away, the unfinished kitchen of my dreams that I'll never see come to life, my lost love, it all carries memories of a past life and a shared project that's already over, a life that no longer belongs to me. So every time I come back from somewhere thinking I'm healing, stepping into the house brings my anxiety back, and my emotional wounds seem to open again, so being here is incredibly hard and painful. And strangely enough, La Casita is starting to show tiny cracks again, as if to let me know it's time for us to let go of each other. I know that some of you follow me because you love seeing this little house in the mountains, the rural setting, the cozy cottage charm, but that will change soon. I don't yet know what kind of setting you'll see next, but I do know that my essence will remain the same, and I hope you'll stay with me for the journey. One of the most important things I've learned during this time is that a home doesn't have to be permanent. Your true home is the one you build inside yourself. And when you have that, it doesn't matter if you're in a mountain house, a friend's couch, or a hotel room, you're still home. No matter what happens with this house, who keeps it, how they renovate it, what they use it for, something of me will remain within these walls, just as it will always be, for me, a turning point that changed my life. In the next videos, I'll share the part of my dream I haven't told you about yet. About taking the leap and betting on yourself, even when you're scared as hell. I guess if this were a Netflix series, in a few episodes would be the moment to move on to the next season. And if you don't want to miss it, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next chapters of this adventure. Going back to the question at the beginning of the video, I wonder, are you someone who would stay in the house or are you the emotional type who would leave? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.